Welcome to Scratch tutorial lesson number 5. Here we continue to explore important block groups and now focus on sound and music. As we all know, they're important parts of stories, animations, and games, and there are several ways to include any kind of audio effect in Scratch. First, remember that we can check what kind of sounds are already associated with our sprites. Now, this is a custom sprite, our Skratchko, right here, that we made in lesson number 3. So when we click on sounds here for the custom-made sprite, there are no sounds associated with it yet. Luckily, there is this palette right at the bottom where we can choose whatever is already available for us, record, get a random one, or upload a sound, right? So let's see what's available for cats, right? We're gonna go to animals right here, and we see there are two options, meow and meow 2. Let's preview. Okay, let's include this one. And then also, let's include the other one as well. Okay, animals. Okay, the other one's fine too. All right, so we have two sounds. Now, just to demonstrate it, we're gonna also record one by ourselves, right? So let's try to record something. Okay, we can trim whatever we recorded, like from the start to the end. Let's say here, save it. And now we have 3 sounds associated. Notice that each of them we can also edit. Here we have some options to edit these sounds as well. But as we go back to our code and to the sound, right, we see now that we can play any of these 3 sounds, right? So we have, if we check our menu, we have these 2 that we imported and the one that we recorded. So just for the sake of hearing what we recorded, let's play that one. Okay, maybe we should have covered our ears, but anyway. So let's see what else do we have here, right? We have some options here. We can change pitch of our sound. We can change volume. We can clear or stop sound effects. Also get the number for volume, for the current volume that we have, and play some sounds that are already associated with sprites. So altogether, not really too much, right? However, beyond these sounds, there is a whole other world of music that we can add to our project. This group is under the extensions right here. And then if we click, the very first one group is music. So let's click and select that one. It brings it immediately right into our project right here. And we have options there. It may look again that we don't have too many, right? We can set tempo, we can play a note and put some pause. But note this too, the first and the fourth one. We have a drop-down menu where we can select quite a few instruments here, and in the top one, it's still more like a percussion and hand drums kind of instruments also. So altogether, quite a few of options that we have. So let's start by importing one instrument. So for instance, let's import a guitar. So let's go back to our sprites, go to music. We can pick electric guitar, right? So maybe fix a little bit these proportions. Maybe we want to increase the size of the cat a little bit, so 120. And then also we need to rotate the guitar so we can kind of fit it better in the cat's hands. So maybe something like this. So now it kind of looks that the cat maybe plays this guitar. So what do we want to do? We want to make that whenever we click on the cat, that the guitar kind of strums. So it kind of gives us a feeling that we ping a cat to play a guitar, right? And the main reason why we're setting it this way is because we want to remind ourselves how to communicate between sprites, because we are acting on one sprite, and that sprite, which is a cat, And that sprite is supposed to trigger action of a different sprite. So we need to remember how sprites communicate among themselves. And we talked about that in the lesson 4. But let's remind ourselves right here. So let's see, first go to the cat, and then the event is when this sprite is clicked, right? This is going to trigger the event for the cat. The cat's supposed to broadcast the message to the guitar. So here's the action, another event that's going to be broadcast this message. Now guitar is supposed to act on the message. So guitar is going to wait until the message is received, and then after that is going to play a note, right? So let's go to music, and guitar is going to play a note. Before, we want probably to set the instrument first. So let's set the instrument to electric guitar right here, and then we're going to play a note. To make it a little bit more interesting, we're going to add some randomness to note. So let's say we're going to pick a random number here instead of the fixed note. See, we wait until it highlights. That means that they're clicking together, right? And then let's put some range, maybe 40 to say 69 for the notes. And so what we're going to do now, let's demonstrate if this works as advertised. We should be clicking on the cat, and we should hear a strum of a guitar every time, right? So all right, so everything works. Now we can obviously keep adding instruments, right? But let's just add one more right now. So this time we're gonna add the snare drum. So let's go back to our instruments and to music, and snare drum is right here. So we're gonna add the snare drum here, and this time it's gonna be simpler. So we're gonna play a drum just by clicking on it this time, right? So it's slightly easier for us. We're gonna go to events. The event is when the sprite is clicked. When the sprite is clicked, what we want to do, we want to play a drum right here. And it's already preset to snare drum, right? We can change something else, but it's right where we want it, to a snare drum. So, okay, this was simple. Let's see if it actually plays. Okay. So now to make it a little bit more interesting, we can add a dancer that's gonna pick up on these drum beats, right? So let's go back to sprites, and let's find the dancer right here. So here's our dancer. We go to costumes. See, they have, the dancer has like 4 dance moves, right? And we're gonna be basically using those to respond to the drum beats. How do we do that? Right? Again, clicking on one sprite is supposed to trigger the action of the other, right? So we need now to go back and add another broadcast message from the drum, right? So we go here, we go to the events, and this drum's supposed to broadcast a message. Only we used the default one the first time around, so let's designate that this is a message from a drum. So, oops. So let's say, okay, I want to know when the message from a drum arrives for the dancer. So the dancer is going to wait until it receives a message from a drum. And then what the dancer does to change a move, we're going to go to looks, and we're going to say, well, let's go just kind of go to the next costume and keep changing costumes every time the drum plays, right? So let's see if this works as we intended it to. So let's click on the drum. All right, so you see, the dancer responds to drum beats, right? And we can obviously keep adding instruments and demonstrating them, but you get the idea, so we don't need to keep repeating that. One thing that we want to actually address is that if you notice so far, we've been playing only random notes, right? But the options that we have are much more powerful, and we can literally compose and play music in our projects too. So to demonstrate that, what we're going to do as the last step, and probably the most fun, is we're going to go to music and find, say, keyboard. So we're going to have this keyboard, and when we press on the keyboard, we're going to play a little tune. So event is going to be again, right, when this sprite is clicked. But when the sprite is clicked, let's go to music. So we need to set the instrument right here. And we can leave it to piano, that's fine. And then we can say, let's play a note. So let's see, we're going to play this one, and we want to duplicate it. So right click, duplicate, add that one. Now duplicate another one, but we're going to change a note, 67. And then we're going to duplicate this one. And then we're gonna need a couple more. So let's change this one to 69. And then duplicate this one. And we need one more. So go back to 67. And let's just extend the last one to twice, half a beat. So music is not my forte, that's for sure, but this is fairly simple. So let's see if we succeeded in actually running this, and if you can recognize what this might be, right? So let's click our keyboard. Right? So hopefully it's good enough to be recognized as Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, just the beginning, right? And before we finish this lesson, we can also change the instrument, right? So let's see how would this sound on a guitar. Since I didn't change the event, we can still click on the keyboard, but the sound is going to be coming from a guitar. All right, so we introduced the different ways to bring in some audio effects, some sounds, some music into our projects, and this concludes our lesson number 5.